Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. I'm Rona G. Avila, the first reporter of Group 3. Our topic is all about the stages of environmental impact assessment process. So, I have a video about environmental impact assessment.
Environmental Impact Assessment. What is environmental impact assessment? A study to identify, predict, evaluate, and communicate information about the impacts on the environment of a proposed project and to detail out the mitigating measures prior to project approval and implementation. The evolution of environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessments commenced in the 1960s as part of increasing environmental awareness, especially in U.S. and other industrial industries. Due to these environmental concerns, in the early 1970s, environmental impact assessment was first introduced. Then, in 1970s to 1980s, the scope became bigger in order to cater the environmental issues. In mid to late 1980s, the process of environmental impact assessment was strengthened with the integration of the policy. And in mid-1990s until now, the focus of the environmental impact assessment is towards sustainability. Objectives of environmental impact assessment: to modify and improve design, to ensure efficient resources use, to enhance social aspects, to protect human health and safety, to identify the key impacts and measures for mitigating them, to inform decision-making and condition setting, and also to avoid serious and irreversible damage to the environment.
Why environmental impact assessment is important.
Of course, environmental impact assessment is important. It ensures that the potential problems are foreseen and addressed at an early stage in the project planning and design. I will give you an example. A forest is a complete ecosystem, which provides food, shelter to a wide variety of species. It provides firewood, timber, water catchment area, medicinal herbs, and so on, to us humans. Whenever a project is undertaken which demands clearing of the forest, like construction of road or a dam, environmental impact assessment helps us to assess the impact of that activity on this lifeline. It is also suggests mitigation plans from this assessment.
So, what are the benefits of environmental impact assessment?
There are several benefits of this assessment. Firstly, it is environmentally sound and sustainable design. Better compliance with the standards. Savings in capital and operating costs. Reduced time and costs for approvals. Increased project acceptance. And also better protection of the environment and human health. Thank you for your attention. See you again in the next video. Screening marks the start.
So, we proceed in the first step of EIA assessment process. First is screening, and here is the video of screening.
marks the start of the Environmental and Social Impact Assessment, or ESIA procedure. Its purpose is to determine whether a project requires an ESIA. It is important to screen as early as possible, so all stakeholders are aware of ESIA requirements and their roles and responsibilities. An early start also ensures that the outcomes of an ESIA process are in time to influence and improve project design. Screening begins when the proponent submits a proposal to the ESIA authority, including a description of the proposed activity, its location, and possible impacts. The authority screens the proposal using the method specified in the ESIA regulation. This may be a selection list, case-by-case screening, or a combination of both. After screening is carried out, the authority publicly announces its decision if and what type of ESIA is needed. If screening is carried out properly, only projects with significant impacts go through the ESIA process. This ensures an efficient use of resources and prevents overburdening the capacity of the ESIA authority. And if an ESIA is necessary, everyone is now set to start defining the scope.
And the second stage is scoping. And this is the video of the scoping process.
Scoping is a critical step in an environmental and social impact assessment, or ESIA. After determining that an assessment is needed during screening, scoping aims to identify the issues that really matter. Typical questions asked during scoping include: what does the project aim to achieve? What people and what area will be affected? How will stakeholders be involved? What are the potential impacts? Are there alternatives that have environmental and social advantages? Scoping is a creative and participatory process that helps to focus on the relevant impacts. If the focus is too narrow, the ESIA might miss important impacts or will be less convincing. If the focus is too broad, the ESIA will take unnecessary time and money. The result of scoping is usually a terms of reference for the next steps in the process. It will guide in drafting the ESIA report and serve as a framework for reviewing the quality of both the process and report. If scoping is done well, it'll contribute to an efficient and successful ESIA.
So that's all my part of our report. Thank you for listening.